Calvinism seems to be the most subversive and deceptive form of doctrine that is out there. They employ deceptive tactics to persuade more than any other Christian or religious thought system that I know. They're very overt. I mean, they're very organized about it. They're very serious about it. Okay. So I want to cover some of those. I want to cover some of the things that they do. I want to keep it in a simplified format. There are a lot of churches out there who are dealing with stealth Calvinist infiltration. And for you, I want to say, we have an entire playlist on Calvinist infiltration, and I highly recommend that you start up with this one. That's not what I meant to do. No, that's not gonna. There we go. Let me make it right. That you start off with this one up here. Do this now. It's a Calvinist infiltration prevention resolution. It tells you what to do. And by the way, I don't have the link on there for that anymore, but if those of you who want that Calvinist infiltration prevention resolution, send me an email and I will shoot it to you. It's a template format that you can use to adapt at your church to put together a resolution that we don't want any Calvinist leaders, and it words it in a whole bunch of different very clear ways to make it very clear that if at any time someone starts to lean Calvinistic, bam, they're done. They're done. We don't lean Calvinism around here. If you are not vehemently and ardently against Calvinism, then you do not understand the gospel. It's that simple. It is that simple. If you are not vehemently against Calvinism, then you either don't understand Calvinism or you don't understand the gospel. I have another video, I don't have it pictured here, but it's called There Is No Gospel in Calvinism. And that's very important to understand, that this is not some peripheral issue. It's not something we can set aside like the color of the carpet, or whether we want pews or chairs, or whether or not to have an offering or collection boxes in the back. It's not like that. We're talking about the gospel itself. If you ask a Calvinist what the gospel is, they will tell you the same thing we have in 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4. However, the problem with that is actually not, the word gospel means good news. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4, the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ does not equal the gospel in Calvinism. It doesn't equal good news in Calvinism. Why? Because if you're not the elect, that's not good news for you because it does nothing for you. If you are the elect, then your fate was chosen before the foundation of the world by God, and that is what gets you saved, and the fact that Christ died is just icing on the cake. It's not the good news. The only good news that you can learn about yourself in Calvinism is that you are elect. Because if you don't know that, then you don't even know that Christ died for you. And the gospel of the New Testament, the gospel of Paul, the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, is not good news to you because Christ didn't die for you. You see? So this issue goes straight to the heart of the gospel. It is absolutely, positively not a peripheral issue. If anybody is a Calvinist, whether they realize it or not, they are anti-gospel. They are against the gospel of Jesus Christ. And anybody who is not a Calvinist, that doesn't have a problem with Calvinism, who isn't vehemently opposed against it, they don't understand the gospel or they don't care about it. Okay? To understand the gospel and to care about it equals opposition to Calvinism. That's the only two ways about it. Okay? So if you have a pastor who is saying, I think that, I wouldn't call myself Reformed, but we're not against Reformed either. Bam, they're a Calvinist, get rid of them. It's as simple as that. If they're not vehemently opposed to it, they are sneaking in on you and they are one. Now this playlist exists for a reason, and we've covered a lot of this information before on why it's so important, and I can't stress it enough.